How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer here, Wrestling Observer Radio. It is November 19, 2017, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. It's Survivor Series to talk about here today, which that was a pretty good show overall until the last half of that main event. What a disaster that was.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought the show was. I mean, it was. I mean, the Brock Lesnar AJ Styles match was really good, and some of the other matches were good. I didn't think it. But yeah, it fell off the rails at the end. I don't know what that main event was. Just everything. What a booking nightmare that was. I mean, they managed. Essentially the goal of the match was to get Braun Strowman over. And that's fine. That's a fine goal. But in doing so, they basically got everybody else in the match marginalized to a point where, I mean, like Samoa Joe and John Cena and Nakamura, they all came off like nothing. And it was all about Triple H and Shane and Braun Strowman. That was pretty much it, right? The only guys that really got protected.
That was it.
And it didn't have a lot of heat, and it went way too long. So, you know, it may not have gone too long had it been booked better, but still, it went really long. And anyway, it was a good show until the last match, and then the last match was, just big disappointment. That's all I could say.
We got a lot to talk about, so let's just get going here. The pre-show matches. 3 matches on the pre-show, 2 added today.
Yeah. So, okay, so they weren't good. It was, all 3 of them were well below the usual pre-show match level. Matt Hardy and Elias was, just a match. It never really got anywhere. Elias won clean with a drift away. Not good at all. Then we had Enzo and Kalisto, also not good. Kalisto did some cool stuff, but not as much as you expect from him on a pay-per-view match. Like maybe really about the only thing was like a springboard into a Code Red, which was, from the apron into the ring. That was pretty cool. The rest of it was just like nothing much. He went for a Salida del Sol. Enzo grabbed the ropes and blocked it. Enzo tried his Jordanzo, and Kalisto held the ropes and blocked it. So then Enzo pulled Kalisto into the turnbuckle and hit the Jordanzo and pinned him. This was not a good match. And then I guess a match that was just nothing. I mean, it was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against Tyler Breeze and Fandango. And, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did a long interview before the match. Kevin said, "This is the building where I won where I won the Intercontinental title and I won the Universal title," and everybody cheered, and he goes, "Those are my moments, not your moments." And he goes, "I should be making history here tonight, but because we should be leading SmackDown's team to victory, but we're not because of Shane McMahon." And then, anyway, Fandango and Tyler Breeze came out and they did a promo. They tried to be funny. I don't think it really worked. They were trying to give tickets to them for having smelly beards. Smelly facial hair is what they said. And Fandango tried to call Sammy Paperboy, which I don't know if that really works. I mean, there was a light chant. Once the match started, I mean, nothing. Nada. Fandango went for a leg drop off the top rope. He missed. Kevin Owens pinned him with a pop-up powerbomb. And that was the match. So 3 below par matches to start the show.
So the pay-per-view opened up with New Day and The Shield. It was actually the show opened with 15 minutes of video packages. Literally 15 minutes.
Freaking believable. I think it was 19 minutes before the match actually started.
Yeah, it was amazing. They had 15 minutes of video packages, 4 minutes of ring introductions. Finally, the guys get in the ring.
So here's the thing. They actually, aside from the Corbin Miz match, I mean, because they actually ended before the top of the hour, but they made up for it by starting the show. I mean, it was still a it was still just under 5.5 hours for the show, so it was long as hell. But the thing, everyone for the most part, except for Corbin and Miz, got to do a long match. I mean, it was amazing. Like, they were like way over an hour into the show, and we were only 2 matches in. And I thought, oh my God, this thing is going forever. But by the time they got to the last 2 matches, there was an hour and 45 minutes left with 2 matches to go. And it's like, man, they're going to actually finish before time. This is awesome. So they got to do all those video packages. They had plenty of them. They really had time for more matches, but they didn't have more matches. I mean, they could have put Enzo on the card and, like, whatever. It wouldn't have mattered. They probably made the right choice. Enzo wasn't going to help this card anyway.
So they took their time early, and Roman did get booed every time he got in the ring. They cheered the Shield, booed Roman, and worked over Xavier.
He wasn't always booed. He was cheered in a lot of spots.
He was cheered when it was a 3-way, but when he got a tag, he was booed every single time he got the tag.
Light boos, or one time he was booed real heavy, but like when he hit the spear, that got a really big pop. So it wasn't like normal, like TV or anything, but. Yeah, he was the only guy in the match that was booed. The New Day did a promo to start it, which I thought was designed to kind of make them into the baby faces in the match, although I think they knew the Shield was going to get cheered. So the Shield wore those frickin' ugly-ass T-shirts. I guess they were trying to market those T-shirts, the half Raw, half Shield shirts.
Well, Shield and Ambrose did. Roman wore his
Roman
deal.
Roman didn't have to. Well, if you notice, on the whole show, everybody had to wear these T-shirts except for a few people. They didn't have to wear T-shirts, like Triple H. Triple H actually wore a tank top.
He wore a tank top.
Yeah, he wore a tank top. A couple of guys didn't have to wear T-shirts, but almost nobody. But Roman didn't have to.
So Rollins got a hot tag, ran wild. Roman got tagged in, got booed. Chance of Roman sucks on top of that. Seth hit his Rainmaker knee on Kofi. Dean hit the DDT. Xavier made the save. This is awesome, Chance. So, New Day rallied. This match went a long time, and they just kept going back and forth, back and forth. One point, Big E hoisted both Ambrose and Seth onto his shoulders. Double midnight hour. Roman speared Big E to break it up. More of this is awesome, Chance. And finally, Dean and Seth hit their finishers on the floor outside. Roman speared Kofi in the ring. They hit the triple powerbomb off the middle rope and got the pin. Good opener.
Yeah, definitely a good match. Nothing off the charts, but yeah, it was definitely a good match.
And we had Stephanie backstage giving a pep talk to the Raw women's team.
God, horrible.
Just goes one by one, putting them over. Or actually, wasn't even putting them over. It's more like, Bayley, no hugs. We got to win tonight, and this and that. And then she gets them all rallied, and they're all excited. And then she sends them running to the ring like they're going to the playground. They go back to Michael Cole, and he says, "Now that's a leader." It was sickening.
Yeah, it's just what it is. The other thing, too, is I don't know why she's, like, insistent on wearing heels, because it just makes, like, everyone else look like they except for Nia Jax.
You're explaining why right now.
I know. Aside from Nia Jax,
right?
everybody else, all the wrestlers look tiny next to her, and they look insignificant next to her. It's like, it's so counterproductive.
Well, that's what they do.
I know.
That was the story of the whole show.
Yeah, it was. The whole show was about the McMahons and everybody else is just trivial guys that are worker bees. And that's why they don't, that's one of the reasons why they have a hard time drawing at house shows. Because the only people on the house shows are the worker bees.
And TV now, even.
Yeah. TV's doing better now than before. But then again, Stephanie was off TV for most of that period where it started getting good. So, yeah, they're going to put over Braun. So Braun and Roman Reigns. That's all it's going to be this year.
So we had Natalya, Tamina, Becky, Carmella, Naomi versus Asuka, Alicia, Sasha, Bayley, and Nia. So after all that we were talking about with Natty, I mean, nothing. She just came out and did the match, and that was that.
Thank God she did the match. You know how bad that match would have been if she wasn't in it?
Well,
she pretty much her and Sasha Banks and Asuka pretty much saved that match because it was frickin' it wasn't horrible without them. It was just there. But what was it? Naomi and Alicia Fox.
Yes.
That was something. What a mess that was.
So first Bayley pins Becky pretty much immediately with a schoolgirl from blind tag. And she was the team captain, by the way, so she's out of there. Bayley gets isolated. Carmella super kicks her. Tamina hits a splash off the top. Bayley is eliminated. We get the long-awaited Nia versus Tamina battle. Lana jumps up on the apron. Nia bumps her off. Tamina knocks her outside. Naomi does a dive onto her. Tamina then hits a high cross off the steps. Gets back in the ring. Nia is counted out. It's the end of Nia Jax.
Yeah, that was pretty flat, but I actually figured that they would do something like that to protect her. Although I'm not sure what they're protecting her for, because it's like that whole Alexa Bliss Nia thing. Maybe they'll start it up now, because like they built to it, and they've gotten away from it now.
I don't know how they're going to build that thing up if... I mean, seriously. Asuka should be getting the title shot, not Nia Jax.
Well, since considering Asuka was the last survivor, yeah.
So, we have Alicia and Naomi having one of the sloppiest series you'll ever see in a WWE ring, complete with a completely fucked up pinfall finish. Supposed to be a submission, but she didn't kick out in time. And
she didn't kick out and the referee counted 3?
No, yeah. I mean, I know that's what happened, because as soon as the ref counted 3, they went to do the submission.
Oh, yeah. The submission
and the ref's
was
like, it's over.
Yeah, the ref had to tell them it was over, yeah.
So Alicia's eliminated. It was so bad. And then Sasha submitted Naomi.
They were so bad, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Sasha submitted Naomi, yeah, right away.
Asuka kills Carmella dead. She makes her regret ever entering the business. Just destroyed her. So it comes out to Asuka and Sasha versus Naomi and Tamina. So Sasha hits the double knees, puts the bank statement on Natty. Tamina makes it save. Natty puts Sasha in the sharpshooter. She tries to crawl to Asuka, but Tamina knocks Asuka off the apron, so Sasha is forced to submit. So it's Asuka 1-on-2 against both of them. Fans are chanting, "Let's go, Asuka." Tamina misses a splash. Asuka puts her in a flying armbar, submits her. Then
that was pretty cool.
Yep, Natty versus Asuka, which was a good little segment. Natty goes for the sharpshooter. Asuka puts her in a knee bar, hits a spin kick, puts her in the Asuka lock, submits her. This really was in one match, like the best and the worst of WWE Women's Wrestling, all in one match.
Yep. The stuff with the stuff at the end was really good, and the stuff in the middle was as bad as anything on the show. It was much worse than anything on the show. The stuff in the middle, and much worse than you almost ever see on the main roster.
Ever.
Even on NXT, you rarely see
There's
stuff that bad.
There's nothing this bad in NXT, because they would at least edit it off the show, and you'd never see individuals that bad doing a live takeover match. And really, Naomi's not even that bad. But they did like 5 straight spots. They screwed up every single solitary one, and then screwed up the finish.
Yeah, I think they just messed up. And once you start messing up, then you're just they were just on different pages. Yeah, they're usually not. Neither of them are usually this bad. I mean, in fact, they're never this bad. They just were tonight.
Daniel Bryan and Stephanie meeting backstage. She's happy Raw is up 2. They argue about John Cena being on SmackDown. She accuses Daniel Bryan of nepotism. He howls with laughter. Brings up, did she put her husband on the team? She says, I didn't put my husband on the team. I put the game on the team. That's different.
No, it's not.
That's what she claimed.
Okay.
We had the Miz versus Baron Corbin Intercontinental versus U.S. Championship match. Played up a bunch of tweets they sent to each other. Maurice was there. Baron's blowing kisses to her, telling her this is what a real man looks like. Miz gets mad. We actually got some dueling chants during this match. I couldn't even believe my ears. Miz Taraj hits the ring.
This was definitely a crowd that wanted every match to be good. I mean, because they were chanting during like the worst. Not that this match was the worst, but they were chanting, even during the worst of stuff.
Miz Taraj hit the ring. Corbin hit the end of days on Bo Dallas. Tries to hit Miz, but he flipped over, hit a DDT for a near fall. Hits his Daniel Bryan kicks, the Daniel Bryan running drop kicks, and then runs right into the end of days for the pin. So Baron Corbin wins that match. Pretty much exactly what you would expect from Miz versus Baron Corbin.
This was definitely the bathroom break match. I mean, it wasn't like it was bad, but it
was astonishingly average.
Yeah, I think slightly better than average, but only slightly.
We had a Kay Jewelers commercial where some guy proposed to his girl in the middle of the wrestling ring.
In an empty building.
Empty building, yeah.
I wonder what he told her to get her to...
I don't know, but when he was about to propose, and I think it was Bayley goes...
It was Bayley.
This is your WWE moment. and there's no one in the building. I was like, oh my God. And Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Usos.
Hey, look, at least it wasn't Natty as a heel.
That's true.
Trying to, you know what I mean?
Oh, we had a Paul Heyman promo, by the way.
Like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Heyman promo was really good.
It was great. AJ's phenomenal, he says, but he better be ready for a fight tonight.
Did you see the Paul Heyman promo that he did after the show?
I did not.
Oh, it was pretty freaking great, actually.
I'm stunned.
He just talked about how, he just basically putting AJ over, saying he's been in his whole life sitting there at ringside, and he said that AJ from up close at ringside is like Ric Flair, Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels, except he's evolved past them, and he's really a phenomenal performer, and he was in a fight, and you could tell Brock really liked him.
You don't say.
Because of the way he sold.
He gave him more than virtually anybody in years.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the whole thing was to start it off with we'll talk about that later, but with Brock just absolutely killing him to make it. I mean, that match was like so different from everything else on the show and so much better than everything else on the show, I thought.
We'll get to that here in a second. Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Usos, Battle of Tag Champions. Usos are so good. This was a good match.
Yeah.
Jimmy with a twisting moonsault makes a tag, backdrops Cesaro into the corner, which was kind of scary, but he was all right. Cesaro hit the giant swing, went for the sharpshooter. Jimmy tried to help, but Sheamus booted him outside. Kept going for one near fall after another. Finally, we got the super kick party, as they call it, on Sheamus. And then Jimmy dove.
I think that's trademarked.
I don't know if it's trademarked. You really think they've trademarked super kick party? I mean, if they have a hell of a claim.
I'll ask. I think the Young Bucks did, because they merchandised the hell out of it. I remember. I'll find out. I think that they did.
Well, in that case, they should be firing off a letter here.
They should be firing off their own cease and desist letter. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Jimmy dove on Cesaro outside. Jay hit the big splash on Sheamus, got the pin. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, real good stuff.
It's brought it up 2-2 in the Survivor Series.
Yeah, I guess that I was kind of getting tired of that scoreboard thing, especially because of the end, because it's like Raw won the last two matches and the two important matches, and I just thought that was kind of weird. But it's like wouldn't you want to like balance it out like I guess they had to, because the New Day couldn't lose, right? And the matches that the
New Day did lose.
That's
Shield.
I mean, the Shield couldn't lose. Right. Of course. So I mean, every match that SmackDown, obviously Brock wasn't going to lose, and the men's Raw team wasn't going to lose, and the Shield wasn't going to lose, and so what were the other ones? Corbin got and who? So who am I missing? The Raw women. Yeah, because of Asuka. Yeah, I think that they couldn't lose either. So essentially, you had a situation where the Raw team had too many people that couldn't lose, and so they had to win all four, but they won the last two, the two most important ones.
They didn't have to put Asuka on that team. I mean...
Well, once they did...
This is fake, so you really can't write yourself that far into a corner.
Well, originally it was Mickie James.
Yeah.
And then SmackDown could have won. And then SmackDown would have had the 4-3 edge, and, but Raw would have won the last two matches, I guess. So, whatever.
We had the Jason Jordan promo.
Boy, this went nowhere.
He was booed. He whined that he may never get this opportunity again. Says he's 100%. If something happens tonight, he's ready to go. He's 100% behind his teammates. This
was end up being so bad because Kurt did that whole big speech about how he couldn't afford someone not being 100%, and then he shows up and the guy can't even frickin' walk, hardly.
So he says, or she asks him, she goes, well, what about Triple H? And he says, well, I hope he gets eliminated. And then Raw goes on to victory. We'll see where it goes tomorrow.
Yeah.
If ever. Charlotte versus Alexa.
Yeah. Jason Jordan's going to get his revenge on Triple H tomorrow night.
Sure, yeah. He'll get a match and he'll get pedigreed and they'll say, he got elevated with that loss. Good for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Charlotte Alexa, Battle of Women's Champions. Alexa yanked her off the apron for the heat, worked her over, threw her into the steps. Just did a lot of stuff for a long time. I mean, it was weird. It went like 15 minutes, and about 5 of it I remembered. The rest was just, they did stuff. Screwed up a code red, tried it again, made it the second time. Charlotte hit a natural selection for a near fall, missed the big moonsault. Alexa later missed the twisted bliss. And finally,
Charlotte got her foot up.
Yeah, knees up or whatever. And then Charlotte hit the big kick, figure 8 for the submission. I mean, it was fine. It was way longer than it needed to be. And they wanted to make it an epic match, and they tried, and it wasn't,
Yeah, I thought, I don't know. I mean, I really didn't come in with high expectations for that match, so it was about what I expected.
Then we had a great match. Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles. Dueling chants, AJ Styles, Suplex City. Brock just obliterated this guy early. Threw him all over. Threw him pillar to post. Dragged him by the hair. Suplexed him across the ring. Styles just stumbling all over the place. German. Brock hits him with a running knee to the chin. Finally, AJ fires up. Slips behind on an F5. Brock misses a knee to the corner. AJ drop kicks the leg. Hits a DDT. Works him over. Hits a moonsault. Brock catches him. There was actually a short moment here where they were on separate pages. There was the moonsault where they stumbled. There was the run up the ropes DDT that got botched. And then there was a suplex to the outside that I think AJ was supposed to low bridge him, but kind of didn't. And Lesnar just suplexed him, or kind of clotheslined himself outside. But they saved it again. And AJ hit a springboard forearm to the outside. Toss him into the steps. Forearm off the steps. K-Brada in the ring. Springboard 450. People are going nuts. Brock kicks out. Goes for the Styles Clash. Or that obviously doesn't work. Brock switches to the F5. AJ slips through. Puts him in the calf crusher. Brock sold this calf crusher better than he sold the knee bar from Frank Mir back at his UFC debut. Just screaming. He's on his knees.
Well, you got to remember that he wasn't supposed to sell that knee bar.
It's true. But he's going nuts. People are going crazy, thinking Brock Lesnar might actually submit to AJ Styles. Finally, he fights free, slams his head into the mat.
Oh, the way he did that was so great. He got AJ's head, just slammed it into the mat over and over again. That was an absolutely tremendous spot.
Fans chanting, "This is awesome." AJ hits the phenomenal forearm. Brock kicks out. He foolishly goes to do it a second time. Brock catches him in midair. F5 for the pin. Brock is down in the ring for minutes. Finally limps away, selling the calf crusher. Totally put over that this guy was super tough, even though he beat him. Both guys got over bigger. This match was a masterpiece. I loved it.
I don't know if I would call it a masterpiece. I see matches that good all the time, but it was a great match. I liked it because it was, again, it was so different from everybody else on the show. There was a feel to it. They made it feel like it was a fight. Everybody else made it feel like that they were performing for you. And that it had, Brock can do that in a match because when he comes out and just mauls people, and I mean, poor AJ in the first 5 minutes got nothing in and just got freaking annihilated. But by doing that, his comebacks were great, and it brought the match. The match had a very different feel to it, and the crowd was very different for this match than the other match. It stole the show, and Brock was even selling it backstage. I had people going like, he's really hurt, which he wasn't, but he wanted everyone to think he was.
So it was 3-3 going into the main event. Hunter, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe versus Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and John Cena. His first match back. Just shows up for this match, does some spots, gets pinned, and leaves. What in the hell was the point?
I was saying the same thing. It's like, he might as well have just refereed, right? I mean, he could have done more as a referee than... Well,
I mean, that was the idea.
What?
So, I mean... He should have.
He should have. Just because Jinder wasn't in it, No Jinder on the whole show.
He did a couple of interviews, but no wrestling appearance or anything.
Yeah.
He did an inset saying that he's all for his team winning, and he hopes that AJ wins, but he hoped that Brock destroys him so that he can get his title back. Which, man, he did that promo, and I thought he's getting his title back.
Oh, God. He's going to get the title back on Tuesday?
I don't know. That's the way. They sure were making you think that.
Oh, I hope not.
Guess we'll see.
AJ, I mean, it's possible, but, man, it's such a difference in main events. Well, the thing is AJ and Jinder are probably going to main event that December pay-per-view.
Yep. So Angle had his thigh taped up. The first part of this match was actually a lot of fun because they had everybody do spots with each other early you don't normally see. We had Orton and Samoa Joe, Balor and Nakamura, place going nuts. There was an NXT chant and a New Japan chant. Hunter and Nakamura, and then Hunter does his spot where he drops Nakamura across his knee like he does to everybody, and he just collapses. And I think he hurt his ankle or something, because he spent I don't know, how long was this match? 36 minutes? He spent a good 15 minutes on the outside not doing anything, and wasn't moving too well afterwards, so I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But Rude and Hunter did some stuff, and then Nakamura's taken out the entire Raw team until runs into Braun Strowman, power slam for the pin. That's the end of Nakamura. Rude goes for the blockbuster off the top. Braun was supposed to catch him and power slam him, but he dropped him. So he picks him up, power slams him, pins him. It's the end of Bobby Roode. Then, for whatever reason, Joe and Braun get into an argument. Angle and Hunter get into an argument. Orton shoves them into each other, and Team SmackDown takes over. And him and Cena are double-teaming Strowman. The entire team comes out, including the eliminated guys, Nakamura and Rude, and they suplex Braun Strowman through the announce table, so he's out for a while. Shane goes up top. Joe backdrops him off the top, goes for the clutch. Shane escapes, tags in Cena.
That backdrop was real dangerous.
It looks like they were setting something up, but then they just couldn't get it, so he just tossed the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Although on the when you look at the things that Shane McMahon normally does, I mean, this was perfectly safe. A lot better than falling off the stupid cell.
Yeah, I mean, by that standards, yes, but he was completely out of control on that fall. That was the thing. On a lot of those other ones, he's in control.
I guess. You're falling off a cell. I mean, there's only so much control you can have. It's gravity.
Yeah. Yeah, but this one he was falling at an angle where, it could have been bad.
Joe and Balor got in an argument about who was going to pin Cena. So Cena hit the AA on Joe, AA on Balor, AA on Joe, got the pin. Kurt says, "Who wants to get in with me?" Kurt Angle tags in. So Angle and Cena just... I think this was supposed to be like John Cena and Triple H, but Triple H wasn't ready to get in because Angle and Cena just got in there and they just... It's like they were calling it in the ring. They did nothing for a long time. The match just ground to a halt. They're just kind of doing some stuff. And then finally, Angle hit the Angle Slam. Shane broke it up. Finn comes off the top with a double foot stomp. Angle pins John Cena with the Olympic Slam. So he's just out of here. Just vanishes. That's the end of John Cena.
Yeah.
Finn tries a double foot stomp on Randy. Misses. Randy hits the RKO. Pins Finn. So Owens and Zayn come out. Randy's crawling for a tag, but they yank Shane off the apron. They beat up Shane. They throw him over the announce table. He, of course, makes his own comeback. He's beating him up with chair shots. Owens hits the ring, takes an RKO from Randy Orton. He vanishes. And then Strowman rises from the dead, tags in, power slams Randy Orton, pins him. So the only guy left on Team SmackDown, Shane McMahon.
Then he just stood outside the ring for 3 minutes while nothing happened.
Grinds to a halt. So finally, Braun goes to kill Shane, but Hunter blind tags himself in. But then Angle blind tags himself in. They all want to beat up Shane. Shane runs wild on Kurt. Kurt cuts him off. Angle slam, ankle lock. Shane is just refusing to quit forever. And so Hunter gets in the ring, grabs Kurt, gives him a pedigree, throws Shane on top. Shane pins Kurt Angle. Braun is baffled. The crowd is dead. Nobody knows what the hell is going on here. Kurt helps Shane to his feet, gives him a pedigree.
Of course.
And
of course
pins
he gives
him
a pedigree, yeah.
Yep. Hunter wins the match for Team Raw, pinning the sole survivor, or the sole not survivor, Shane McMahon. And then he celebrates with Braun, trying to say, "Hey, buddy, we won! Don't get so mad!" And so Braun grabs him, says he'll kill him if he ever tries this again. Hunter, of course, tries to pedigree him, but Braun hoists him up, gives him 2 power slams, leaves him laying as the show goes off the air. What in the hell was the end of this match?
Well, I guess the idea is we have to tune in tomorrow night and find out what the hell it was.
I can't wait for that.
God, we're going to have a Triple H Braun Strowman program to get Braun Strowman over?
I mean, the way they did it here, it was like, okay, so are they going to do Hunter and Braun at Mania and Hunter and Kurt at the Royal Rumble, or the other way around?
Oh, that I don't know.
Those are the 2 matches that apparently Hunter's going to have right here.
Yeah. I mean, Hunter and Angle at Mania was the plan months ago, but, who knows now?
Man, so that felt like one of those old WCW pay-per-views where the undercard's good, the main event sucks, and the old guys are standing tall at the end.
Yeah, pretty much, huh?
That's what this was.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the last couple of guys there, except for Braun, that's the part-timers were, I mean, I couldn't believe they just trivialized Cena. Nakamura and Bobby Roode just came off so nothing. Even though Nakamura actually did some good stuff with Finn Balor. But, in the end, just Nakamura was the first guy out. It was all about Strowman. And not about, but I mean, Orton was okay. Cena, again, I have no clue why you bring Cena back and do that with him. I mean, just no clue at all.
Alrighty, Lucha Underground has been renewed for a 4th season. I don't know if we've talked about this a whole lot, but they're going to be taping early 2018. Actually, we did talk about this. Shorter taping schedule, less individuals in the office. Anything new on this?
Yeah, so as far as the talent goes, I mean, we had mentioned that a lot of the guys were unhappy that they got renewed because some of them just wanted to leave. So what they said is they realize, they realize they're only taping 2 months out of the year, which was the plan for this year. They'll be taping for about 2 months. They're going to be doing a lot of 3-night tapings. Just get a season done quickly and least expensive as possible. So they're allowing their talent to work anywhere they want for the most part. I would presume that they can't work WWE. Nor would WWE use people who are under contract to somebody else. But they can work pretty much anywhere else that they want to. And this is what Eric Van Wagenen said, that if anyone wants to leave, they will give them their release and let them go, but they would like, in return for their release, for them to, come back and at least work out, an exit. If you've got belts and you want to leave, drop your belts. If you've got a storyline and you want to leave, let us write you out. But you can leave. You can go WWE or anywhere else if you want to go. So we'll see who goes and who stays. It's going to be, a lot lower budget type of thing. And the plan is to tape February, March of every year for the next several years. But I don't know. I don't Lucha Underground had so much buzz when we were in Dallas at WrestleMania. I mean, and they didn't even have a show there, which they should have. And I mean, Pentagon was so over at that point. It was really amazing to see. But I think it's really cooled down since then. And I think when people realize that you're not going anywhere, and it's hard for them to get emotionally invested in them. And I mean, that's the thing is this feels like they're they're coming back. What's the goal? I mean, they're not building any big shows or anything like that. They're not going to be they're going to be around. They'll be around on TV for a little while, but there's so much wrestling on TV. Their angles, they go somewhere, but I don't know. I think that they've lost, they have lost steam. I mean, that's the reality of it. But they're trying to be fair to the talent, so that's good. And we'll see who they have. I mean, there's a lot of things that are changing right now when it comes to the Mexico scene and the United States scene. The Aero Lucha promotion, was expecting Lucha Underground not to come back, and figured that they could get a lot of the talent from there. You know, the Pentagons and people like that, and that's not going to happen because those guys are, unless they give. I suppose they could give notice, Pentagon and Phoenix, if they wanted to leave. I'm not sure that would be. I'm not sure for them that would be the right move because the TV does benefit both of those guys a little bit. So, I mean, the TV is what made Pentagon in the first place. So that's going on. Looks like taping in February or March.
Volkan Ozdemir. What do we not know about this?
We don't know much of anything. He got arrested for assault last night, and that's all we really know. He was in jail as of this morning, held on $10,000 bond. It was some sort of a bar nightclub brawl. It's too bad. I mean, we'll see how that, when it all comes out, what that means. I mean, Ozdemir was supposed to fight Daniel Cormier for the light heavyweight title early next year. The date hadn't been announced yet, but it was looking like pretty early in the year. And whether this will affect that from happening or not, we don't know because we don't know what the incident was, other than it was a fairly serious assault charge.
Alrighty, let's jump into the mailbag here. Mailbag at WrestlingObserver.com. A lot of questions. This person says, Vince was super down on the Owens-Jericho match from WrestleMania 33 in the 365 documentary on Owens. I remember that match being pretty good. What was his reaction to Orton and Wyatt on that show? Because I remember that match being a dumpster fire.
I don't know. I don't have an answer. Hopefully he realized that match sucked, but I don't know.
This person says, are these so-called superfans like the clown guy WWE Plant? I ask this because the tall gentleman with his mother was at Survivor Series. I've seen him countless times before in the same section.
No, some people know how to get tickets. They have the right connections. They're not. I don't think that WWE. I don't think they really plant fans, unless it's. I mean, in the past they have. It's when they're trying to get certain people over, and they'll put people in the front row to accentuate them getting over. But that I haven't seen them do that in a long, long time.
Let's see. This person here says, did the plans for WrestleMania change after this show and post-match? It's got to be Reigns versus Lesnar versus Strowman, with Strowman winning, right?
I don't know. The last I heard was Lesnar and Reigns, with Reigns winning. I mean, it could change. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they could make the switch and go with Strowman as the face of the company. It would surprise me. It'd probably be worth the experiment of doing it. I mean, I can come up with good reasons not to do it, but the reality is there's no better alternative if you're going to go with someone. Strowman's more over than Roman Reigns. He's not a better wrestler, obviously. That's the problem, I guess, is that Strowman is pretty limited in what he can do. But that's, again, when it comes to the top guy in the company, lots of top guys were limited in what they can do. If you can get over, then, you should be a top guy, the top guy. So, and with Strowman, they should have plenty of guys who are good enough to work with him and make him be all right, I guess. So, yeah, but as far as I've heard nothing to indicate that it's still not going to be Roman Reigns.
This person here says, what is the latest on Justin Gabriel after his skydiving accident?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I think he might be back wrestling, but I'm not sure right now.
This person says, what is the deal with the Raw and SmackDown shirts all over Survivor Series? They can't honestly think that their audience is so stupid they can't remember who is on which show.
Yeah, I didn't like the shirts at all. I mean, I guess you could say it's a way to market shirts, but it made everybody less individuals, and I thought that just made everybody just feel like they're worker bees again, and I'm not sure that that's not really what your top pro wrestler should be. Your undercard guys can be that, that's fine, but the top guys should be above that.
This person here says, do you think WWE hit a sweet spot with the amount that they booked Brock this year, where he's still looked at as a special attraction, but he's not gone so much that people think that he's never there?
Yes, I think that it's been a lot better this year. He's worked a lot more dates, so it's been better. I mean, the one thing is that by not using him every week and having his matches be like different style matches from everybody else, they've managed to keep him with that aura. And if they had him every week, I think that they would destroy it. I just do. I mean, I could be wrong, but I guess it's my faith in their ability to destroy almost anyone.
First says, do you think it's out of the question that for Raw's 25th anniversary at the Manhattan Center that they would have a match with the Steiner brothers and Executioner since they wrestled in the very first show?
I wouldn't do it. I hope not.
I'd say it's pretty much out of the question.
Yeah.
Any interest in WWE bringing back either EC3 or James Storm?
I mean, James Storm's a free agent now, so I'm sure he's going to try. He might be able to get in. It's just a matter of what kind of openings or whatever. I mean, because before NXT wanted him, I don't know that it would or wouldn't have changed. Depends on what NXT needs. But I could obviously it's certainly something that they would consider. And EC3 is good talker and everything, good body. I think there's a good chance that he'll be there at some point this year or whenever his contract is up. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
So this could be wrong, but a quick look here. I don't see any matches for PJ Black since November of 2016.
Yeah, well, he hurt himself really, really bad when he did one of those stunts. So when I've heard all of his injuries, I thought he would never wrestle again. So
lost fingers.
Is that what it was? I just remember it was hideous injuries.
Yeah, I think he lost like a couple of fingers or something like that.
Oh man, it's horrible.
This person here says, do you expect Aleister Black on the main roster by WrestleMania?
Don't know. No way to predict. I mean, it's possible, but I think that they'll probably. If I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna guess not by WrestleMania. Maybe by the end of the year, but and maybe not. But I think. But I don't know. I mean, they could bring him up tomorrow. There's no reason not to. They got a good entrance, a good act, and everything. That'll get over if they allow him to do and play to his strengths and everything like that. But you can say that about a lot of people. It doesn't always happen.
This person here says, who had the idea for the Survivor Series pay-per-view and the concept of elimination matches being the selling point? Was it Vince himself, or did someone else come up with the idea or pitch it to him, like Pat Patterson did with the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. I've never heard anyone really take credit for it. I mean, the guys, that was in that period of time. This is '87. I mean, it really was Vince and Pat doing most of the booking. So probably one or the other.
This person here says, what's going on with WWE advertising $25 standalone pay-per-views through the WWE Network?
I have no idea what this is all about. It's
incredible.
I think maybe they're just trying to find out what percentage of their audience is completely stupid. Because why would you spend $25 to get essentially a weekend of the network when you can get the network either for free?
It's not even a weekend. It's Survivor Series.
No, they give you like a weekend.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they actually give you a couple. I mean, I don't know if it's a whole weekend, but they give you a couple of days when you order the $24.99. But still, it makes absolutely no sense. I have no clue.
They're basically advertising it like you don't have to
buy the network.
You don't have to sign up for a recurring membership. You can just pay $25. But it's preposterous because you can just pay your $9.99 and then quit.
Or you could just get it for free.
Or you get it for free. That's even better.
Yeah, but exactly. You could spend $9.99 and if you want to quit, you can quit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting that it's being done that way, but it just feels weird. It's certainly, when I saw that, it was like, this is very weird.
It says, Dave and Bryan, any health updates on the addiction? Because Aaron crunched his neck when he took the Indie Taker on Friday.
Okay. So I should probably talk about these injuries. So Drew McIntyre, it was the final spot. It was the DDT spot at the end where he got hurt. And the belief is probably a torn biceps, but we won't know that until he gets the MRI, and he did not have the MRI done, at least as of this afternoon. I think it's going to be done at some point in the next couple of days. Kazarian went home after he took the Indy Taker in San Antonio, and he flew home, and he is hurting right now, but he has not been checked out. So as far as the extent of the injuries, we don't know. But he had the rest of the weekend off. And Daniels, I believe Daniels was going to be working tonight in Oklahoma City, but he did he did Texas Deathmatch with Cody last night in Dallas, and the finish of the match was a power bomb through a flaming table, and he did get some burns, but I heard that was, I mean, they're burns. I don't want to say they're not serious, but he was supposed to be wrestling tonight in Oklahoma City, as far as I know. That was what I was told in the afternoon, but he did not go home. He was still on the tour, but yes, he did get some burns from that flaming table.
Spurs says, I've always loved seeing Red Shoes referee. With his son now a young lion, I was wondering what Red Shoes' history is.
He's just been a referee for a long, long time. That's all.
Spurs says, when you get pay-per-view estimates from cable providers, do they break down how many people bought a replay?
I don't get that information. There are people who know that. I remember I used to know those numbers with TNA, because there was a period where TNA did some really good, replay numbers, because they would have word of mouth that the show was really good when people didn't order it. But by really good replay numbers, I'm talking 8,000, which is really good. I mean, well, if they did that now, it'd be incredible, because they probably aren't even doing 8,000 for the first run. But this was when they were doing like 30,000, and they could do like a quarter of it on the replay, which is incredible, based on word of mouth. But that was also like whatever, 2004, 2005, whatever it was a different era. But I don't really know. UFC does not have a significant number of replay buys. I'm sure there's some, but it's not. It's pretty much what you get the first night is pretty much what you're getting.
This person says, is there any truth at all to the rumor going around courtesy of Ryan Satin that the original plan until recently was to do Ellsworth versus Charlotte in Mania 34? The storyline being that Ellsworth revealing that he was transgender and would demand a shot at the women's title. Was this even remotely true? Have you even heard the rumor that it might be true?
I'm sure that somebody pitched it, but Ronda Rousey and them are all training for the horsewoman thing, so that was that's been the plan for WrestleMania, and I don't think it's changed, because they've still been training. It's an idea. It sounds like horrible, absolutely horrible. So, and if they had that idea and Vince had approved that idea, the guy wouldn't have been fired.
This person here says, I was wondering where Dave thought El Santo ranks on the list of the most influential wrestlers in history, and whether the story of him trying to patent the camel clutch is true.
Oh, man. There's something, I forgot the story, but there's something to that. As far as influential wrestlers of all time, he's way up there. Ricky Dozan's the most influential wrestler of all time, because he basically created the whole thing. But Santo probably wouldn't be too far behind. I think that there'd probably be a couple of guys maybe ahead of him, maybe, but he's probably top 5 or 6, maybe top 5, yeah.
One more here. This person says, I was reading the new issue of The Observer. This was a few days ago. I have a question about Anderson Silva's drug test failure. In the story, Dave writes that Anderson failed a drug test 3 weeks before his fight with Nick Diaz, and then he also failed another drug test the night of the fight. Can you explain why this goes down in his record as one failed drug test, when it seems to me that's clearly 2 failed drug tests?
Yeah, but it's for the same substance. So, if you fail like for a substance, and then 2 weeks later you fail for the substance again, it's considered the same failure.
They presume it's the same. I see.
Yeah.
What if it's fast acting?
If it's fast acting, well, the fact is that the stuff that he tested positive for wasn't.
But I mean, if it was, like if you failed and then 3 weeks later you failed for the same fast acting deal.
That's an interesting
That
one.
should be 2 failures.
Yes, it should be. I think they would probably consider it 1. If you fail, so I think the deal is if you fail, and you're tested and you fail for the same substance after the shelf life of the substance originally would have been out of your system, I think that would be counted as 2 failures, yes.
All right, one more here, actually. This person says, I heard that Jack Swagger beat Cain Velasquez in wrestling in college. Is that true?
I never heard that. They were contemporaries. Cain was a little bit better of a wrestler. That doesn't mean that Jack Swagger might have beaten him, but I never heard that story at all. And I think that if it was true, I think that I would have. But in the NCAA, I mean, it's Arizona State, they weren't in the same conference. They probably would have only met at the NCAAs, and Swagger never beat him in the NCAAs. I know that. I mean, they may have been, it's possible they were in a tournament or something like that, but I never heard that. So, I don't know that. I don't know. I would think I would have heard if he had beaten him in college. But Swagger was 7th the year that Cain took 4th, I believe it was, in the NCAAs.
All right, everybody. On that note, we're going to wrap it up here for today. We had a show last night. If you want the thoughts on the TakeOver show, that's up yesterday. And, of course, tomorrow we'll be back after Raw as well. We got a lot of stuff up on the